Do you remember that movie where Johnny Depp ended up playing a vampire? The vampire's name was Barnabas Collins, and the movie was Dark Shadows. And, it was kind of one of those movies that brought back a lot of memories for me, so I am going to start off this makeup by putting on some primer. I'm using e.l.f. Power Grip. This stuff is amazing, and this base is going to keep anything down that I'm going to put on. After my base is down, then I'm going to go and glue down my eyebrows. Using a Elmer's glue stick, the one that is purple and then dries clear. This is usually what I do end up using for gluing down my eyebrows and most of the makeup that I do. Now, I don't really fully and totally need to hide them, so I'm just going to be using some of this flesh tone cosmetic. This is just some eyeshadow, and I'm very lightly putting that over it. That's just going to help to at least subdue them a bit, because I will be further hiding my eyebrows with the makeup that I'll be putting over it after. Now, for my foundation, I am using some of this. This is a white foundation, and it works honestly great. Depending on how many layers you put on, it can either be pretty see-through, which is kind of what I'm going for. I didn't want it to be too dark. I only wanted it to make my skin look, of course, vampire pale. After I had that on, then I moved over to this, which this is a cool toned, we'll say along the lines of sculpting. So I'm putting this down, and it's kind of like almost a gray with just a little bit of brown in it. Now, Johnny Depp's cheekbones are very prominent, so that's pretty much exactly what I am doing. I'm making my cheekbones look prominent. I'm blending that in with the foundation that I used. And after that's blended, now you can see here what I'm doing is I'm further blending this. I also did add some white down. The upper portion, so the top portion of where the cheekbone is, I needed a little bit more light in there, and adding some of that white foundation helped to do so, along with also blend out the cheekbones and not make them look as patchy. That's pretty important to do. It will make it look like there's actual shadow there and not just a patch. Now I'm adding some of this to my nose area along with also my eye area. I didn't really want to go too intense with this, but I wanted to add some for shadow. Then I'm blending it. And after that is blended, which you can see that added some shadow in there, I added just a small bit to my temples to make them look a bit more prominent too. Now I'm using some of this purple. I'm putting it underneath my eyelid starting off. I did have a reference up as well too for the character. There were some purples that were used along with also some grays in the makeup. Normally with a lot of Tim Burton type makeup, you're going to find some purples and also pinks along with grays mixed into the eye area. So I put it at the edges of the upper lid too, along with also the bottom, and I made a very messy wing at the edge. After I blended that into the foundation that I had, I added some of this black shadow, and I put that where the corner of my eye is to make it look like my eyes were a bit more sunken. Another thing that is typical for a lot of Tim Burton movies, I'm also putting some shadow on my chin. I was following a reference that was there of what Johnny Depp's face actually looks like. And I brushed my brush very well to where I had only a little bit of that black pigment on there, chiseled out my nose on the sides, along with also my cheekbones, added some of this under my eye to make it look like my eyes were very smoky. Same thing with also putting some at the edge to very, very, very lightly wing it out. Didn't want to make them look too prominent, but I did want to add just a bit there. At the edges of my mouth too, I drew lines that went down, blended at the edge. Then I added some matte lipstick. This stuff is a bit more pale than my actual lip tone. You can see that it does add a bit to the makeup, and it was pretty necessary, at least to make my lips look a little more like lips and, pop more with that. I used a Q-tip to blend it. It makes it look a lot more natural, but they are pretty subtle with this makeup. Then I added some shadow where my philtrum is, that little divot where the upper portion of the lips and the nose kind of meet. Sprayed it all in place with some setting spray. Very important to do since I put a wig on and some other stuff. Let that dry. And after it was dried, then I was good to put my hairnet on along with also the wig. Normally what I do for a lot of my wigs is I will typically put one of these fishnet hairnets on, then I will follow it up with a flesh tone cap. Just keeps everything in place and it also keeps the wig secured a bit more. After that is on, I was good to put on my wig. And for this makeup, I had pretty much the perfect things that I wanted to wear with it, but first, I needed to put some of that white foundation onto my ears just to fully and totally get this makeup good to go. But the clothes that I had for this, I had an awesome suit top, which I love this one. It's very vampire-y gothy. Love it, love it, love it. Tucked a piece of red fabric in to where the button-up shirt is. And put on some nails. Then the makeup was done. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to learn how to make some vampire teeth, I do have a tutorial that is over on my profile as well too. But happy almost Halloween. I hope you enjoyed this one and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Have a good one. All right. Bye.